Everybody. Got it.
Yeah.
Welcome to our theme Thursday. And tonight is a meeting about Western landscapes. And we're hoping that a number of you have paintings that you can share with the rest of us. Maybe tell us why you picked the location, what your favorite tips or techniques for going outside and painting are. Maybe you start them outside. Sometimes I start them outside, then I finish them up inside. In fact, I do that quite a bit. Okay, so Chris, why don't you actually tell everybody about your latest venture up to, you were out in the desert, correct?
Yes, I was.
Okay.
Well, I'll tell you about that. I don't have anything to show you from that yet because I haven't had time to photograph it. But anyway, and the painting's still down there. So, but
Oh, okay.
I actually we went down there, Lynn and I and Joyce Gonzalez, Jeff, oh my God, Newsom, I think his name is. I forgot his last name. Anyway, we went down there on Tuesday and kind of scoped out a few different sites. The organization recommended several different locations that would be nice to paint at. And so we went and checked out some of those ahead of time. And then, yeah, Wednesday morning, we headed out to paint. And I myself painted, started a painting on Wednesday morning and another one on Wednesday afternoon at a different location. And then I started another one Thursday morning at a different location. And I wasn't able to finish any of them, of course, because I don't paint like Mike. and so I decided that Friday was also could be a paint day because the show was started in the award ceremony on Saturday. So I decided to stay in on Friday and finish off one or two of those paintings. So I would be sure to have something for the show.
Right.
So I finished one painting and I had to frame it down there. And then Saturday morning, we took it to the art center there, and the reception is from 2 to 4. And then the show was open on Sunday, and at 4 o'clock, you could pick your paintings up and take them home. But we left early, so Dave Wolfram picked our paintings up, and he's going to bring them to Destination Art.
Oh, how many participants showed up for that?
They allowed a maximum of 75, and this year they said they had about a 40% increase, and I think they ended up with about 60 painters, I think.
Oh,
and this is the second year that they've done it. It's a new thing.
right.
Yeah, but it was a lot of fun. It's the first time I've done that. I had the jitters at first, because it's a new thing, but it turned out to be pretty fun. Everybody should try that one of these days if you haven't.
Well, plein air painting is totally a different ball game. It's just because when you see the whole landscape, it's 270 degrees in front of you, and from that you got to zero in on a little area that you want to paint. So that's the most difficult part, is what you want to paint.
Yeah, and that's part of the process, is in going around and selecting that spot and what in that spot it is you want to paint, like you just said. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's part of the growing process. So that's great, Chris, that you did it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to the next one.
Yeah. We at Pastels Society of Southern California, we should have something like that. We have a big enough group of people that we should have a paint out and a kind of a thing, a quick draw kind of a thing where people can participate, and it's a lot of fun. And we haven't had anything like that. So
I think that's a great idea.
I think in our next board meeting, we should talk about it, because Southern California, look at all the great places we got to paint. I mean, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
So I think we should consider.
Yeah. Anybody else? Oh, well, go ahead, Margie. Oh, you're muted, Margie.
Hello, how about now?
There you
Yeah.
go. Okay.
The other thing that I asked Chris about was, I was like, you go down with the pencil drawing, you know, paper, whatever, because I do that a lot of times. I'll go out with just some big shapes or, you know, in little notes about stuff. And he said, correct me if I get it wrong, but he said you have to go in and they stamp
Oh,
your paper you're going to use or your canvas or whatever,
Right.
so that then they know that you didn't do a preliminary sketch.
right.
Yeah.
Wednesday morning, you had to take your substrates in and you stamped the back of it. So they knew that what was painted on the other side was done down there at that
Right.
show.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So who's got something to share? Why don't I go to Marty? Hey, Marty.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, Marty.
So
Hey,
tell us about your last Planet Air adventure. I know you do a lot.
my last plein air adventure was with you guys when we went to the Sierras.
Oh,
Oh.
nice.
Yeah. So
You
I
have
have
some paintings
I,
to
yeah,
show?
I have a painting from there. It's
Oh.
okay. How do
Well,
I don't know
you
how
want
to,
to show us a painting that you really are super happy about?
Just put it in front of your face, Margie.
But
Marty.
okay, hold on. I have it on my, yeah, okay, hold on.
okay.
I wasn't ready. You might want to go to someone else who was ready, but
Okay.
this might take a minute.
And this is my dad Hagen painting.
Oh, yeah.
This is your what?
Desmond O'Hagan.
Desmond is a fabulous painter, and he's mentored a number of us. And he has workshops. He comes out to Southern California. He's got a lot of workshops out of his house in Denver. In fact, Linda and I were talking about possibly going to one of his to go. Because I haven't been to Denver like forever, so I thought it would be fun. Everything's different when you're there as a child. So, who else would like to share?
Well, everybody's heard of Albert Handel, right? Mickey and I were in Santa Fe, New Mexico. When was this? November. We were in November. So I just wrote Albert a text and said, we'd like to come and visit you. And he immediately got back to me and said, come on anytime you want and come to my studio. And we did. We visited his studio in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Very hospitable man. Showed us around his house, his studio. He converted his garage into his studio with north light, skylight, and all that. Beautiful space. He does all his paintings there. And of course, I couldn't get out of there without buying one of his paintings. So I'll share that with you, the painting that I ended up buying. But anyway,
Wow.
Oh, that's a beauty.
that's a waterfall kind of a thing.
Beautiful.
You know,
He loves visitors. He at
does.
IAPS, he was like, here's my address and phone number. Anyone who wants to come.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you know what it is with Albert, okay? He has a lot of opportunities to show his work in art studios. Everybody wants him at these galleries and so on. But he doesn't want to do that because what happens is the gallery takes one of his say $2,000 to $4,000 paintings and they mark it up twice. And so and he only gets a fraction of that. And so he decided not to do that. And so he sells most of his art through his studio. And that way then he can keep his costs down, sell it a little cheaper to the public. and he gets to meet the people and actually create some PR. And so that's what he does.
Mhm.
So,
Is that one of his oils or
no, it's a
pastel?
pastel, it's a pastel, yeah.
Beautiful.
And he's coming out here, I think. Kat
Yeah,
Anderson-
That's lined up.
Kath
Yeah.
Anderson is trying to set up a time sometime in May for him
Right.
to come out. And he's a little bit more expensive than your other pastel teachers that we've had. But you know what? Albert's he's about my age. He's about 85, 84, something like that. You know, how much longer is he going to be sticking around? So I would like to take a class with him. I really would. And so I hope he comes out.
Nice.
Well, you know that Susan, who's doing the workshop next week, worked for him
Oh
for a
yeah.
couple years.
Yeah, in fact, when I was there, Albert comes up to me and says, if you ever get a chance, take a workshop with Susan Kaczynski. She's top. So later on, I found out that she's going to do a workshop here. So I wrote Albert back a little note saying, oh, so he says, oh, that's wonderful. Make sure you take her class. So I am in her class.
Hey, Bernard, how are you?
Good.
Hey,
Hi,
Bert.
everyone. Greetings.
Greetings.
That's
Hello.
a good story, Mike.
Yeah,
Albert is a real character.
yeah.
He lives alone, and he showed us his house, and it looks like a bachelor house, crap all over the place and everything. You know? He didn't care. He just come in, sit down, you know, and
Find a spot.
yeah, he had paintings all over the place, all over the walls. And I said, "Wow, Albert, that's a beautiful painting." He says, "Yeah, that's that won first place in such and such a place, and you want to buy it? It's $15,000." Oh, I said,
I'll take two. Thank you.
but it was a
Right.
big oil. It was like 36 by 24, big painting, and yeah, he's got somebody else working for him now. I can't remember who it is. But
Well,
she-
Linda's his companion.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. She comes in about 2 or 3 days a week. She lives somewhere else, and she comes in and stays with Albert there. And she does all the shipping and handling of the art and keeping
Nice.
supplies supplied and all that. But he's got his art studio is very well organized, believe it or not. It's pretty nice. He's got this huge solid oak easel that you use a crank to do it in, and I've never seen one like that, but that's where he does all his paintings. And
Oh. Old Mastercraft one. They still sell the easel at Carter Sexton in North Hollywood.
oh, this thing must weigh 200 pounds. I wouldn't want to lift it.
Yeah.
You have to figure out your space and then just have it there.
Yeah, yeah.
So, Bernard, we were talking about possible paint out opportunities. Do you have
Yes.
anything coming up?
Well, I thought March was probably going to be the driest. And I thought we'd go, Malaga Cove, what's it called? No, Abalone Cove Shoreline Park that Mike's been to a number of times. Mike, are you over and done with that location, or should we find someplace different? I mean, the
I
only
could-
reason I like it is we've got
There all the-
facilities.
Yeah, I could paint there all the time. It's
That's what I was wondering. You never get
wonderful
fed up with it.
place. I mean, it's either the lighthouse, Abalone Cove. Those are two wonderful spots. I mean, you can't
Yeah.
beat
There are other places, but the facilities are good. If you're over 62, it's free.
right.
And I always find it quite a stimulating place.
There's
Uh,
another place now, you know, where those homes slid off and it's all abandoned now, and all the homes are gone now, and it's like it's kind of like an open field area.
That's
And,
Bluff Cove.
Huh?
That's Bluff Cove.
Bluff Grove, yeah. That's another nice place to paint.
I was
But
just
there's
there
no-
today.
There's no
Actually.
facilities there. That's the problem.
That's the issue. And
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
there with my plein air group today, around Bluff Cove, and fantastic, beautiful light in the afternoon.
Yeah,
But just as you said, there's no facilities,
right.
and if you want to rinse out your brushes or go to the bathroom or whatever,
Yeah, yeah.
the Abalone Cove Shoreline Park is first rate.
It is first rate.
And if you want to be, if you want to go down a level, you're getting a completely different vista. But you've got to remember, you've got to come back up.
Right. Right. Yeah, yeah. It's about a 500-foot drop
Yeah,
to the beach.
but we could set up a series of pulleys, Mike, to actually pull everybody up. So I don't mind going back. I think it's a terrific location, and also you don't have to do pastels. You can draw. You could use some other medium, or you can just experiment.
Right.
And there's plenty of room for all that.
The other place we haven't been to, Bernard, is Redondo Beach Pier.
Oh
And
yeah,
there's
that's
a
one of my
lot-
favorites.
Love Redondo Beach Pier.
Yeah,
Pardon?
Redondo Beach Pier. There's a couple of different spots on it. You can do studies of people fishing if you want to do some, humans. Try out your drawings. That's a great spot for it. And then over by the R10 restaurant, there's an elevated spot we go to. You're looking down on all these commercial tugboats and things.
Right, and then you go down to the International Boardwalk walkway.
Yeah.
And get a kind of sea level view of all the boats down there.
Yeah, I mean they loom large because
Yeah, right.
these are professional tugs, as you say, and they also provide crews that go out to the oil tankers
Right.
for Chevron and El Segundo. So those are also good suggestions. And there's parking in the shade
Right.
at that end of the pier. So yeah, we can list one of these every month if you like. I could make a list, Mike, and then we could,
The
see-
thing
see what dates are best.
is the participation in these things are so terrible.
Oh yeah.
Maybe 3 people at the most, 3 or 4 people show up. And I don't know why. I mean, maybe they're scared, they're intimidated by plein air or something,
Well, I think they're intimidated by us, Mike.
That's
You go on weekdays or weekends?
Yeah,
Uh,
other
well, we
fact-
could. Well, for some people, the Saturday morning is convenient.
Right.
We'd just have. I mean, we could offer one. I'm not available usually on a Friday morning. Maybe a Thursday morning. I have a. Yeah, maybe we could do a Thursday morning.
How about it Saturday afternoon?
Saturday is always good. Saturday afternoon is good because what happens is that Shoreline Park,
Mhm.
the afternoon sun comes in and it lights up the bluff.
Correct.
In the morning, it's all just black. But
Well,
in
it's
the
shadowy, shall we say?
Shadowy,
Use
yeah.
use your colors, Mike. Use your colors.
shadowy. So in the afternoon, all the colors come out and it's
Yeah.
much more
Sure.
visible. So yeah, it could be an afternoon. Yeah.
Yeah, and the only reason that I like the mornings is it's cooler.
Yeah, I know, but Margie likes her coffee in the morning and sleep in late.
How
all my
is parking down
I-
there?
Yeah.
Oh, great parking. Yeah, great parking.
Yeah, you've got to be 100 years old, though.
No, well, I'm there.
Well,
You're
all
free.
right.
You're free, Robert.
Uh,
You're free.
But I mean, on a Saturday afternoon, wouldn't it be pretty packed? Or no?
Well, there are lots of people who do go there to go down the cliff onto the beach level. And
Mhm.
if you do it, I mean, it's not impossible, but there's an old schoolhouse down there. And it makes an interesting subject to paint.
Where is this? Abalone
It's called
Cove?
Abalone Cove Shoreline Park.
No, I never saw the schoolhouse.
That's because you've got to go down.
Oh,
But if you look over the edge of the cliff, you can see the roof of it.
Oh, okay.
And that I have incorporated into a couple of paintings.
Yeah, it's very close to the Wayfarers Chapel. The glass church done by
Yeah,
Lloyd
which is on the opposite side.
right.
And I usually ask permission from the Reverend Paul, and he says, well, I'll just check, make sure there's not a wedding rehearsal going on.
Oh,
And it's usually sure. And that's always been a Friday morning. But I would think that Saturdays are a bit difficult because they have events on Saturdays, like weddings.
Right.
Marty would like to.
Well,
say-
I have a question. Is our regular meeting March 11th? Saturday, March
Yes.
11th?
Yeah,
What about doing it in the afternoon after that meeting? Is that too much to pack into one day?
It might be, but we're offering the possibility, at least in terms of the programming, we're offering the chance to do a workshop with the person who talks in the morning.
Yeah.
Ross Moore is the person.
Oh.
And he does some interesting stuff. He's not a pastel artist as such, but his whole philosophy is very interesting.
And
I
he'll go till when? Till 2?
Well, he'll give the hour talk, and then in the afternoon, it would usually it goes from what, 1 o'clock?
We-
I don't normally do stay for the class the afternoon, but Bob, the afternoon workshop generally goes from what time?
Usually it's after.
I think it's 1 to 3. Don't you have time?
I thought it was that 2 hours. Yeah.
right.
We have a March the 11th meeting, Pastel Society of Southern California.
Yes.
That March of the Mentor Day, or we're not
Oh,
doing.
oh, yeah, that's March of the Mentor, right?
But
Yeah.
we're not
No,
doing
we're
the
not doing
mentor.
March of the Mentor this year.
Oh, we're not. Oh,
No.
okay.
So it's
Oh.
just a March meeting.
Oh, okay. So it's at the church,
Yes.
10:30
10 o'clock
10 o'clock.
o'clock, 10
with
o'clock.
the talk at 11 o'clock.
Oh, okay. That's good to know.
Come in-
And-
If you come at 9, you can help set up and have coffee and donuts at 9:30.
I'll be there at 9 o'clock, Chris.
Is he doing a workshop then after the talk? Is that what you're saying, from 1 to 3?
Well, we're offering it,
Okay.
and still a few things to sort out. So we're gonna put it on our website to
Okay.
give people, and then he's going to be on our themed Thursday before the March the 11th.
What, Bernard, remind me of his name on Instagram, because people can look at his work. It's called Oyster?
Sorry,
H-A-
say that in English.
Well, the Queen's dead now. So.
Oh, okay.
That's, what was his name?
His name is not was is
Is.
Ross, ROSS space Moore, M00RE.
More.
Moore.
It's not a
It's-
0, it's an O.
That was a trick answer. Thank you, Linda.
Okay, you're welcome.
Yeah, I had to make sure you're listening.
I'm
But
not, so it's okay.
if you Google his name with the Easy Reader, which is a local free newspaper, you'll see a couple of interviews, perhaps, which highlights him. So I think on his Zoom meeting,
This is his name on Instagram.
correct.
Sure.
It's fancy French. And I won't explain it. You'll have to wait, because I'll maybe mess up what it means. But
He's
Uh,
a contemporary painter.
very much.
And he loves Diebenkorn.
Oh, have you spoken to him today?
Now, I read his bio and stuff.
Okay.
Is he a pastelist? He's a
Uh,
pastelist, right?
No, he's an oil painter, but he might have dabbled in other thingies as well. And so Margie,
Why are we having an oil painter at our Pastel Society meeting?
because he's talking about his philosophy,
Yeah,
and on the theme Thursday, he's going to talk about his sales and how he does that.
Oh, okay.
So it's not just about him and how he
Oh, okay.
throws
Oh,
paint
okay.
on.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Um, someone sent a message on chat.
Let's
What
see.
chat? Oh, it's Michelle. Is it Michelle Aplon?
I have no idea.
Which Michelle?
Probably because you said fancy French.
Oh, yeah.
So-
It's Michelle.
Well, isn't that Michelle? Isn't that the only type of French that you speak? Anyway, let's not get distracted by my
Yes.
banter. So yeah. In other words, Mike, he's gonna he actually gave a talk to the Artist Open group a few weeks ago. It was really engaging.
Oh, good.
And so it's not someone talking about, how to itch and scratch with pastels.
Okay.
It goes a bit beyond that. So more about the philosophy
Okay.
and about bringing yourself. I mean, it's very much about the artist, the child coming out in your work. So some of you may say, well, I know all about that. But some of you might say, what child? I'm not a child. Stop calling me names. But this will help to help us along with the idea.
Western landscapes. I want to know if anybody else has some work to share.
I do.
Okay.
You want me to share it now?
Why
No,
not?
wait,
now?
about 3 weeks from now will be good.
Okay. What I've got, I don't know, 6 or 8 pieces, and if you want, I'll just show them all to you. And then if you have any questions about specific ones, you can fire away. We'll go back to it, I guess. I don't know.
That sounds great.
Hang on a second.
Okay.
After we have upcoming, I'll put it that way, Steve Mirish. Oh, wow. That's great. Ooh, lovely.
Can you see that? Okay.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Okay, I'm gonna go through these and then we can talk about them later.
Okay.
Ooh,
Wow, that's nice.
that's beautiful.
Love that one. Very
Wow.
cool. Nice reflections.
That's my brother.
Nice.
Oh, that's lovely too.
Hmm.
Very nice.
You did these in plein air?
N- no. Well, there might be 1 or 2 that started in plein air, but I don't think I've ever finished anything in plein air. I always finish them in the studio.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this one was plein air right here. Yeah. That's Lynn's ranch.
Oh,
I called that the courtship.
funny.
Oh,
Oh, this is my
wow.
favorite.
Remember that one?
Wow.
So Chris, can you explain? Sorry, we've moved on.
Well, we can go back and talk about them.
Okay, thanks.
I think I'm almost done here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love this.
Oh. Wow.
Now, where was that, Chris?
Okay, that's the last one. That's the Colorado River, just outside of oh God.
Mead, Lake Mead.
No, where all the dune buggy people go. That there's a city, and it's in Utah. Oh,
Oh.
Moab? Is that it? No. Oh,
That could be it.
I
Moab,
think it's
yeah.
Moab.
Moab, or I don't think it's
Moab,
any
yep.
lands. Could be
That's near Arches.
yeah, it's near.
all
Yeah,
the same.
it's near there. But it's just that Moab. I think it's Moab, and it's just down the river a few miles from this spot. This was a camp spot, a campground right here, and
Oh.
that spot right there was literally right out the back of my campsite. I couldn't believe it. Yeah. And it was the early, morning, the sun coming up from the left, from the east, coming up and lit the right side of the mountain there. And so that was painted from a photo reference.
It's beautiful. I like it.
Okay. This was a view from my backyard last year. I got up at the crack of dawn and I couldn't believe it. And that's painted from a photo reference. Except for where those bushes are was a house. So I just kind of got rid of that.
Right.
This
Fantastic.
was in 2017 when we had the total eclipse. I went up to Idaho with my sister-in-law and brother and some other people. And we, ahead of time, picked out a spot that was dead center to underneath the best part of the eclipse, the darkest part of the eclipse. And it was in Idaho, and we found a campsite near there. And we hiked up the trail the day before the eclipse to find a good viewing area on top of a hill there. And as we were coming down, this pack train came around the corner. And I couldn't believe it. And I just grabbed I had a point and shoot on me. I didn't have my big gun with me. I had a point and shoot, and I just started running up the hill taking pictures. I took about 8 or 10 pictures. And this one was the one I chose. I liked the way the guy in the front was looking forward and the guy in the back was looking backwards, hanging on that rope. I just thought it looked great. And
It is.
that dog in there I added, he was not there. That's one of Lynn's dogs. And I just put him in there. But and obviously that was done from a photo reference also. Because I couldn't paint them while they stood still. It was still long enough. Okay.
Nice.
I kind of told you about this one. This was,
Mhm.
and this was almost totally plein air, but I think I did do a little finishing later. This was on a hike we took out of a campground up in the Sierras, going up to a lake to fish. And I just took that photograph and did it from a photo reference. The yellow field there wasn't quite that yellow. I embellished that a little bit, but it was definitely had a lot of yellow in it. It was kind of neat. I went to Texas a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, for a workshop in Fredericksburg for oh my God, what's her name? Oh man, I'm getting old. I can't think of her name. Anyway, it'll come to me. Anyway, so after that workshop, I went to Big Bend National Park, and the weather was pretty ratty the whole time I was there. But I took a bunch of pictures, and this was painted from a photo reference.
Really great.
I love your mountains in the background there.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
Yeah. Very soft.
Okay, this was if you hadn't figured out by now, I'm a big camper. So this was at a Bernie Falls up in Northern California, and my brother and I went out kayak fishing. We both have kayaks and stuff, and he was going around the bend and I was following him, and I said, that looks like a nice picture. So I took a picture and did a painting from it.
Nice.
Very nice.
This
That's
was
beautiful.
That's gorgeous.
This is stunning.
this was
Beautiful.
Anza-Borrego a couple of years ago when we had a lot of rain. That must have been 3 or 4 years ago now. And they had that super bloom down there. So I went down there and went crazy taking pictures.
So,
This is kind
Wait,
of
can you go back?
sure.
What size is that one?
That is 18 by 24.
Okay,
Mm,
yeah.
so
Beautiful.
Chris,
Really impressive.
Chris, I have a question. You know, the wagon train, you actually made a print, right? And then you enhanced it with the color. Is that right?
The wagon train? You mean the horse train?
Yeah. The
Oh,
mules.
yeah. Yeah, some of my, not all of them, but some of the photographs that I take, I do digital paintings of them first before I paint them with pastel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Right. So is this one a similar process?
Yes.
Because, obviously you've got the values are really much
Yeah.
better
They're
in this one,
Mhm.
because you've gone from pretty bright, like the stone in the lower foreground versus the values in that
Right.
cactus
That
plant
is
on the left.
perfect.
Those values seem to be quite naturally correct.
Oops.
Yeah.
So just want to say whatever the technique is, it's pretty good.
Oh.
Yeah.
So what did you do, Chris? You drew it you drew it digitally first, or did you use the photo, or what?
Well, I use the photograph and I use Corel Painter and I do a digital painting of it.
Painting of it.
Some, not everything I do, but some of them I do a digital painting of it to get a feel for what it's going to look like painted. I can try different colors and stuff and test stuff around. And then when I am ready to do a painting, sometimes I do a transfer it. And I took a class from Otto once about how to do transfers, and his technique was to take the photograph and lay tracing paper over it and trace everything out and then scan that and then go to FedEx or whatever and blow up whatever size finished painting you want to have.
It's cheating. That's cheating.
No, well, that's your opinion.
Are
So
we playing cards?
me being a photographer, I kind of took it a different way. I did a digital drawing in my computer and took that file to FedEx and had them print the line drawing on paper, just like you would the tracing.
Right.
I did a transfer from that. It's just a different way of doing the same thing.
It's much quicker.
Yeah, it's quicker and it's more accurate shape wise.
More accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I hear what you're saying, Mike, but I'm of my personal philosophy is, and I've judged a lot of photography competitions and stuff, and I don't care how you get to the image. The only thing that really matters is the image you're looking at. Nothing else matters. Who cares? And if you look at technology as it's evolved through the centuries, artists have embraced technology. I mean, the Vermeer, he did a camera obscura thing,
You know, my philosophy about art is if you want a photograph, buy the photograph.
Yeah.
I
That's
hear
my
you.
philosophy.
I've heard that before.
Otherwise, if you want to buy art that's created by the artist, not something that's copied by the artist. You don't want something like a Vermeer that he just copies verbatim exactly what the scene is. To me, that's not art. That's just copy. It's a copycat.
I wonder how much that's worth.
This
Yes,
is
but it's worth. It's a copycat.
beautiful.
And I get it.
A guy like Van Gogh, he doesn't copy anything. It comes from his heart and soul.
I appreciate your opinion.
How long ago did you do that one, Chris?
Which one? The desert one?
The one just before this.
That was, I think, about 4 years ago now. We
Mhm.
had a big rain that year.
It's just incredible.
Mhm.
I hope you entered it into shows.
I did. I did. As a matter of
Well, I think
I entered our member show a few years ago, whenever that was.
well, you have certainly had the mule train, but I think what Mike's saying, and it's very relevant, Chris, is that with the invention of photography in 1839, if you want to know the
Which you
details,
remember well?
I was there with Louis Daguerre.
You were there with we.
Well, just from a historical point of view, the French inventor of photography was Louis Daguerre, and he was a realistic painter who was trying to find a way to reproduce a very simple photograph that had been created in the 1820s. And he spent many, many years on this. And in my hometown of Liverpool, right, in the local museum, there's an incredible painting of a Scottish chapel by moonlight, a ruined chapel. So there's no roof on it. It's got Gothic windows. And he painted this in the 1830s, and he had traveled around and he was showing off his work as an experience for people, because there was no TV, etc., no movie theaters, but it was the experience to see his paintings in an exhibition where they had music playing and they had other scenes painted on muslin. So people in that Victorian era got this feeling about the paintings, and so he was so photorealistic. And then he invented a type of photography. It's an incredible convergence of the wish to have that what we call photorealism, and it actually happened in the 1830s. So, and then what happened is that a Brit said, "Oh, I've invented a similar type of photography," and the difference between the two was that Deguers was on a silvered copper plate, and the Brit was on paper. And the difference was that you couldn't reproduce Louis Daguerre's work, but you could reproduce the negative positive process that the Brit did. And as a result of this, you got, after a couple of years, starting about 1900, you had photography, right, looking like fine art, because they started using techniques that made you think it was a painting, right? And the painters had a field day creating what looked like photographs, but they were paintings. So there's a whole thing happening over 100 years ago, and it's worth knowing about because you'll understand the drive from each side. Mike's saying, "Hey, you're copying," and Chris is saying, "That's your opinion, but I'm trying to look artistic." So the two sides are perfectly acceptable, right? The difference would be that the painter has to dig a bit deeper from within to have an image that holds together. And our demonstrator will explain more about this. I hope I haven't gone on too long about this, but it really is part of the philosophy of image making. So
Anyway,
that's my 10 cents.
okay.
Should have been 2, but it's 10.
I'll give you my 10 cents worth.
Okay.
Joe Mancuso had a workshop just when was that, Bob? 2 weeks ago or a week ago? About a week ago, right?
It was last week.
Yeah,
A
last
week
week.
ago today and tomorrow.
Okay, so anyway, Chris and Bob are kidding me about, I did 8 paintings in that 2-day workshop, 2 half-day workshops. Actually, it was 9 to 12. And the workshop was based on foggy images, shots made where images are kind of a little foggy, a little soft edges and so on. So
Yep.
the first painting I did of Joe's, and it's nothing like what Joe does, but it's my interpretation of his. This was the one that
Oh,
I did.
great. Sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's Joe's painting.
Mighty nice.
And then from that one,
I can't see it.
Yeah, I think we have to go back to active thing. Chris, I've got all your,
this is another one, kind of foggy edges.
Nice.
I think you have to stop sharing your screen, Chris.
Well,
Yeah.
okay.
If that's what we're doing, yeah.
Okay, hang on a second.
This is an image that everybody's familiar with. Everybody's seen this image. Morro Bay.
Oh,
Rock.
yeah. Nice.
Yep.
Yeah, that's Morro
Love
Rock.
that.
And then this is one I did, and it got sold in a show, so I decided to do another one of it. It's totally different looking, but this is a Sierra with kind of like a fog coming in on
Yeah.
the background. So that's that one.
Yeah.
And this is another one. This is in PV. This is kind of a very impressionistic view of a,
Yeah.
of a
Yeah.
Nice.
Nice.
you know, on a little street in
Into
PV.
the sun. Yeah.
And then I did a big one of this one.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
That's similar to the other one.
395 going to
Yeah,
Mass.
that's no fog. It's just pretty much a winter scene. So those are the ones I did in Joe's class. And so, you know, I think everybody should take workshops. To me, I thrive on workshops because
Really.
how many times in your life do you get to paint like Susan Kuskinski's class, 3 solid days of painting? So I told Susan, I wrote her a note. I said, Susan, I hope you don't mind, but I'm just going to go in and do your workshop and I'm going to do my own thing. And I'll be looking over your shoulder, but I just don't want to throw away 3 solid days of painting. And so that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm just going to go in there and paint and just enjoy the process of painting.
Great attitude.
And
Love
not just go in and just paint for 2 hours, you know, you paint for 6 solid hours. How many people can say that you can do that? And so when you do a workshop, you get that feeling of, wow, you know, you learn and you build on your learning. You learn a little bit, the next painting you're going to get better. And so if you plan it out, I mean, it's an unbelievable feeling to take a workshop and paint for 6 solid hours for 3 solid days. I mean, that's an incredible thing. And so the only way people can do that is if you take a workshop, because there's 1,000 things that you can always be doing. But when you sign up for a workshop and you put your hard-earned money in there, you're going to go in there and do it. You're going to take a workshop. And so to me, this is the best learning experience in the world, taking a workshop. Anyway, that's my 2 cents worth about workshops.
I like it. I like your attitude.
Aaron Sure is going to have a workshop with Laguna Painters Association in
Mm.
April
Oh,
on the beach.
oh, oh. That might be something to do. Yeah, I like that. You know, the problem with those though is that these demos, they spend half the class doing their own demo. And
Yes.
then
Yes.
you only
I
have
hate
the class to paint. And to me, I'm not there to watch him paint. I'm there to experience my own painting process.
Right.
You know?
Good
So
point.
by watching somebody painting, you're learning absolutely nothing. You know, and most of the time you don't even see them putting down the pastel. They're so delicate with their moves. So to me, you have to take your workshops with a grain of salt and just tell them up front what you're going to be doing. So I've already told Susan that I'm not going to be rude, but I'm just going to be painting. You know, I might look at her demos once in a while, but she's going to do 3 demos in 3 days. So that means 3 half a days are gone. So, you know, that's, to me, you're not going to learn much.
Well, this one in Laguna Plein Air Painters Association is a plein air workshop. So he's actually teaching you how to paint outside. And
And do you have to watch him demo then?
yeah, he'll probably
So
demo.
that means a couple of hours gone just watching him paint.
Yep.
Except Mike,
That's why they charge so much.
Mike, the important thing is that there's people with a lot of experience and a lot of energy, which you've demonstrated, and I really like what you've got to say. But the fact is that painting outside is very intimidating, and I think as we've found out, you know, we've only have 3 people turn up at a plein air paint out,
Right.
and therefore this is a way, really, hopefully, for someone to say, "Oh, I'll watch how this person creates, you know, the image, the environment, how they incorporate everything that's going on." and getting going, quotation marks, is a very important part of a plein air demonstration. But, you know, if it's too much, if it goes on too long, then I agree with you. It's a wasted moment.
You know, I mean, one of the things we don't do at the Pastel Society is encourage beginning painters to become painters. And I know when you're a beginner, I mean, your entire book is open for input, demonstrations, kind of pastels you use, everything. You're just hungry for information. But once you achieve all that information, then you're at a different level. And so when you go to these demos, oh, it's the same old thing again, you know, unless of course you go to unless you go to an artist that's totally different. And when I'm saying totally different, an artist like Tony Elaine, I mean, he whips these paintings out in 20 minutes. I mean, how many people can do that, you know? And so he paints at a totally different level and a totally different style of painting. It's very abstract, it's very impressionistic, and it's his own way. And so when you see somebody like that, of course, you're gonna give them 100% of your attention, because a lot of people want to be able to paint loose and painterly. And I mean, whenever I teach classes, they say, gee, I want to paint loose. I want to be able to paint painterly, but I can't. And so they always revert to the fact that, you know, they always go back to the way they used to paint, which is very tight and very, 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 in other words, very exacting.
Yes, yeah, detailed orientated.
Yeah.
Yeah, you make a good point, Mike. No doubt about it. But you know, the difference is that some people didn't start painting until they were 50 or 60.
Hey, that's everybody. Everybody, most people that are Pastel Society started painting in their 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
I mean, how many professional artists do we have in our group? Joe Mancuso, maybe one. And that's about it. Everybody else is hobbyist.
Well, I've had a whole career in
Well,
making
you're
images.
a professional artist. You're a professional
Well, yeah,
artist.
but I'm just saying, but mostly, you know, when I applied to art school in Liverpool, I had to produce, they wanted to see a portfolio of paintings and drawings.
Sure.
And so, but I eventually started getting a career in photography. But it's still the same thing as you're creating shapes and images and angles.
Yeah.
So, you know, and, you know, not everybody has that advantage.
Yeah.
So I consider myself very lucky.
But I mean, I think I know Destination Heart has beginning pastel classes and things like that, and I think you know, unless you provide that entry to begin pastel painting, you're going to run out of painters. There's a lot of people out there that want to paint, but they just don't have the avenue how to get started. And
Well,
so,
that's why some of the demonstrators are worthwhile. And I think that's the kind of split, Mike, that I'm trying to say, is that not all demonstrations by, you know, people at workshops are, I mean, you're overriding all of them. And I think that's a fantastic attitude.
well, I think, I mean, when you're a beginning artist, you have to start from the ground up, you know, and so I
Yeah.
think the demonstrations have to be reflective of their ability to do whatever they want. So you can't just do a very complex piece of art for beginners, because they're going to say, gee, I can't do that. You know, so,
You lose them, right? Yeah.
I'm gonna jump in here. I think I had a couple artists who really helped me with my artwork, and one of them is a fellow by the name of Vadim Zhang, and he had us work in just a 3-color palette. Really helped. And he had me do black and white. He had me do bicycles, which was so difficult.
Whoa.
bicycles are very hard. God, bicycles are very hard.
His whole thing was, well, if you can't do 6 of them like I have on my painting, why don't you just try to do one, Margie?
In fact, motorcycles would have been better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Motorcycles are even hard, yeah.
No,
Yeah.
there are people like Tony that just show you a different go down. But I think one of the things for beginner paintings is they're offered too many materials all at once.
Mhm.
So I think it's nice to be with an artist who says, try this paper. If you want to change it, this one might work, but let's keep our palette not so complex. And so you don't have to go out and buy all these very expensive pastels.
Yeah.
So,
Stephanie Birdsall was really a good, she is my first instructor years
Mhm.
ago and stuff, and I think she's about and I've had others over the years, but I think she's was a get you started the simplest with a handful of the Holbein. And I think
nice.
she was the kindest and didn't spend hours doing a demo. She'd do a little bit and then have everybody paint. And she was just, I think, one of the ones that was really about the best I've done, from a couple of big name ones where you watch them, you pay, $400 to watch them paint, which wasn't fun.
To me, that's the most boring part of workshops.
I was going to say that's Mike's whole point.
Mhm. Right.
And but like I said, Stephanie Birdsall, I think, was, if it hadn't been for her, I probably would have said, oh, I can't do this.
Mhm.
Well, you know,
So-
if you go to art school, you have a subject and everyone is doing the same thing. We go, the art, and you're doing it from the real product or the real subject. And then you get to work with the teacher. So that's how you learn how to draw.
Hey, I like your blue hair.
It's been this way for a while, Mike. You just
Yeah,
noticed.
Is
huh?
that,
great.
you have to
I
ask,
agree, I
is that
agree
a-
with you
That's-
Is that a phthalo blue?
It's no, it's aquamarine.
Oh, it's
But you have
great.
an agreement, Barbara, about that.
yes, yeah, because I went to art school, so I went to Pear, and it wasn't, there were no demos. I mean, you set up you brought in whatever you wanted for
Right.
still life, whatever it was, and you sat there and that was your thing. Or if there was a nude model, then even if you never did anything before, you were there and you sharpened your little pencils and away you went, and the teacher would come around, and if you're having trouble with an eyeball or hands or something like that, he or she would make a little sketch on the side, never touch your art, would make a little sketch on the side and show you how to do it. And that was it. But you definitely were on your own. You weren't mollycoddled, and you weren't bored to death watching a demo.
No.
And a lot of it was gestural. You had to do some gestural drawing, and I think that loosens you up.
Right.
Of course, it depends on the institution, on the atelier,
Yes.
and but
Why do I disagree with some of what you're saying? I think demonstrations have merit. Now, if someone's
they do.
demonstrating for 6 hours of your 6-hour workshop, that doesn't do you any good. But
No.
someone showing a technique or showing something that they're doing or giving an example and then letting you go off on your own, I think it's very worthwhile.
well,
Well, I'm not saying I don't like demos at all, but I mean, I'm just saying that there has to be a good mix of things. It can't just, you can't just rely on one thing. It should be a mix of things.
that's right. So if
It's
you were
worthwhile
talk-
when the teacher walks around and looks at what you're doing, so it's more personal.
yeah.
Also,
Okay, this coming workshop, 3 days with this lady, and she's going to do 3 demos. To me, 1 day a demo is fine. You get to see her, you get to see how she's doing it. But the next day, she should just be wandering around and watching, giving hints to people as they paint. And
But now, didn't she say she was doing a different subject or a different topic each day?
but
Yeah.
it's a demo. It's a demo. You're gonna be watching the same old slow motion thing going on. So anyway.
Well,
When you're
Mike, you've got to rewind it. Go back 50 years, right? When you were in a situation where someone was saying, I want to show you something that might help you. Can you remember something 50, 60, 70 years ago?
Yeah, but they did it for 20 minutes. They didn't do it for 3 hours.
Well, nobody, I haven't been at any
sorry.
workshops
I'm
in
only
this
talking.
group.
I'm only talking to Mike,
Yeah.
Linda, because because Mike's been around an awful long time and he's gathered so much knowledge that he's turning into the complete beginner. Like, I don't need this shit, right? And you know, Mike, you're like the black belt in art, where you've washed your black belt so many times, it's become white. Like you're now a beginner. That's how I see you.
Well, to me, we're all painting because of the enjoyment it gives us. I mean, it's a process that you can't replicate in any other way doing art. I mean, it's like you're just
Therapy.
devouring the landscape and putting it onto a paper. And not too many people can do that. And so the whole process in painting is painting. I tell people, if you do one painting a month, you're not going to get very good. You do one painting a week, you might have a chance. But you
One
do
day.
one painting a day, you might be fantastic, because you're going to be be leaps and bounds over everybody else. So you can't just go to a workshop and just do one painting. You're not going to learn much. You just
That's right.
gotta
You're
you
right.
just gotta go in there and be cognizant of the fact that you're gonna fail on a lot of paintings, and just produce and just do a lot of paintings so that you can get the feel of a workshop. So many people go to a workshop, and I mean, they go and they do one painting an entire 3 days. What have they learned? Nothing.
Nothing. Right.
They
You're
just
right.
learn to do a painting that's so
You're right.
precious that you can't even touch it, because they want to frame it and put it in their living room.
Because it's a great
That's
memory.
Yeah, because a workshop is not that way. A workshop, you're there to learn something new. It's not to learn something you already know about. It's something you want to learn something new.
Yeah, it's like if it was a cookery workshop in how to bake bread, you know, you don't mind being given the initial so-and-so,
Right.
but hands off, I'm going to knead the dough. I'm going to put it in the oven.
Right.
I'm going to keep an eye on it.
Right.
Yeah, so
Right.
that's relevant. But I think
Right.
you've got to leave the door open, Mike. The door has to be cracked open.
The door is always open, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, but I'm saying,
All I want is one little itty bitty new information that's going to make me a better painter. It doesn't have to be much, just one little bit.
yeah.
If I
Well,
can
it's a
learn
bit
that
like,
one bit, it's successful.
Everyone
Yeah,
has
but
their own
Mike-
style.
yeah. I think, Mike, it's a bit like what you're saying is, it's a bit like being led on a museum tour of, a good museum with good work in it.
Yeah.
I think
The world.
you're likening it to that.
Yeah, it's a very boring experience.
Correct.
But everybody, not every artist is on board for doing the same thing. Some people are beginning, some people are at, they're practically professionals.
That's right.
Sometimes it's just, you're just there for whatever. If you want to make my masterpiece and put it and frame it and put it on the wall and be proud of it, go for it. I mean, frankly, I don't care. It's like if they want to do that, if they want to watch someone for 3 hours giving a demo and pick up whatever knowledge they want, that's fine. But everybody has their own way of doing it. It shouldn't be any one particular thing. That's all.
I think if they're a good teacher, they're going to do more than just a demo. They're going to have you do exercises. They're going to teach you one
Right.
technique and have you go practice that. And then the next
Right.
day, they're going to teach you another technique. They're not just going to do demos. I've been to those kind. They're not that informative.
Right.
Really good teachers are actually going to give you information each day. And if you've been painting all your life, you don't need those teachers.
No, you don't.
If you're
Yeah, that's-
We should stop a moment and look at Doris Birch's paintings.
to show
Yeah,
you-
can we get back to Western painting and discuss, we can have another meeting one day and discuss the merits.
This is
of good
actually very
teachers and bad
interesting.
teachers.
It is.
This is really quite interesting. But Doris's painting is very nice.
Wow.
I don't know how to make it
How do
bigger.
we see it?
Can you back it up maybe so it's a little more in focus?
it's non-glare glass. If I hit the plus sign on the thing, will it get bigger?
Right.
Nope.
It's fine.
Pin it, just pin it. You
I
can-
don't know how.
No, you don't, everybody else has to pin you.
Yes, we have to pin you.
I don't know how.
Just go to her square
Never
and
mind.
dots
And then
pin it.
Yeah.
upper right, press the 3 dots and choose pin.
Right.
Like the
Yeah, this is quite a nice study.
Yes, it is. And I can't believe that you felt that you had to be brave. This is lovely.
That's beautiful.
Was
Done.
this
This is down in Borrego about I took photos down there. My husband took me down there the last super bloom. I think somebody said it was 3-4 years ago. It was before the pandemic. And I took a lot of photos down there, and there was just one old road that nobody used anymore. And I just kind of liked the flowers and everything. But it wasn't fun. Thank you. And
there.
And okay, then there was this one is also from there. And then this was where'd you go? Plein air. I'm in Poway. So this was Lake Poway that's just up the road from me. And that was done halfway in plein air with the North County Society of Fine Arts or Inland Painter Group at one time. And this was mostly, oops, so much for the light. Maybe if I do that, don't have enough. Oh, come on.
We're seeing you.
Yeah, let's see. There. Is that better? Yeah, there we go. This is some sycamores. This is plein air up towards Vistas. We went somewhere. I have no idea where they took us because I wasn't driving, but that was a plein air one. And stuff with sycamores. And yeah, that's it. I like desert scene, so there's some oils I've been working on. So, but yeah, this one I think I'm going to give to my son. So, because it's my favorite. It's going to be down in Spanish Village in Balboa Park, first couple weeks in March for our local art group.
I love Balboa Park. Such a great group.
Yeah, and if you can get into the zoo now and stuff, they have a good restaurant in there, so you can have a nice lunch and a drink and stuff, but and walk around. But yeah, Balboa Park, I love walking around in that area.
Nice. Doris, do you?
Yeah.
I find that when I paint in plein air, I come back and my paintings are really dark.
Yes.
I don't know why that is. It's like I feel like my eyes are being blown out by the light out there.
Yep.
Or something.
May I make a suggestion?
Yes.
If you paint in the shadow or the shade or with an umbrella over both the painting surface and the palette, if you're using wet paint, it means you're painting in the shade and your work has to be seen in the shade. And that's one of the ways to solve that problem.
I painted with an umbrella at Rancho Camulos, and the painting is so dark. And I don't know if it's because I was standing in the light area, the sun was on me, and I had my umbrella, but it all came out so dark. And I had to fix that.
Are you afraid that it's going to be
You
too
must have
light?
had your shades on. Did you have your dark sunglasses on?
No, I don't paint with glasses on.
That's a good question, Mike, because that is a source.
What did you say, Doris?
I forget.
Oh, that's my question.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh no, I know what it was. Sometimes I know I'm afraid that I'm going to paint too light that I end up painting dark.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing is you should always, not always, but wear a white smock or a blouse, because if you're painting with like a bright red top on, that's going to reflect back onto your painting.
I think
That's right.
standing completely in shade where the ground is also in shade maybe makes a difference, because I think it's the light bouncing up from the ground.
That's true.
Makes
The
it
other thing you might want to do is just walk it over and put it under a tree and take another look at it. And then you'll see, if your values, if you're happy with the temperature of the painting.
This is where I would love to have a plein air group that's actually somewhat instructional. Because this is one of my problems, is getting the values right.
Sure. Well, hopefully, we can do something in March.
Mhm.
And if I know it's a bit of a drive, but if you were to come down to the South Bay,
Yeah.
and we were to paint on the cliffs, etc.
Yeah.
And then we could do it in a timed sort of way, where then we have a critique. And so,
I love it.
you were using an umbrella and you were not using an umbrella.
Mhm.
You were wearing bright red.
I will never wear bright red.
All right. Bright orange, my dear.
Now that I know.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that the discussion about what do you wear, and the use of umbrellas, like golf umbrellas. But if you can buy a golf umbrella that's muted, you don't want to use one with panels of contrasting bright colors.
I
But-
actually usually wear the blue pastel apron.
Oh, well, that's fine, I guess.
Oh, then you just go to the restaurant supply people and get a chef's smock.
A white apron instead.
But bright white is
The ones that you can put your knives in.
your Genzo knives. Your throwing knives. But anyway, these are all terrific questions about landscape painting. I mean, this is absolutely superb. This is a healthy discussion about.
So if there's going to be a plein air event, I have to plan fairly far in advance. Do we sense like when that would be? Because sometimes I just don't have the time. Because I have have things going on. So
Yeah.
you're thinking Thursday mornings, someone suggesting Saturday mornings, Saturday afternoons. Like when will a decision be made, and will it be advertised in the PSFC? Yes,
website?
we know about it. Yeah, because sometimes the website's not quite up to date. It's pretty darn good.
Well, I'm starting, in fact, I just started today. I run this group on Facebook called The Beauty of, what is it, Linda? The Beauty of California by Facebook Painters.
Yeah, well, okay. I'll
Well,
find
okay.
it.
So what I did like today is I said our Zoom meeting would be tonight. And I've had people respond saying, oh, thanks so much. I forgot about it, because a lot of us have very busy lives.
Right.
And so I'm going to continue doing that. And also, I can send out a reminder thing. We have Lynn's really good. Lynn Attic. She, there you go. Lynn is really good at getting communications out. She just had a grandchild, so she's busy loving the baby, but I'm sure if I gave her enough notice on some of these things, and Maureen, if you would just send me a note when you would be available, I'll see what we can plan with a group of us.
Well, if you want, for the next plein air paint out, rather than me painting, I'll just wander around giving hints. I'll be glad to do that. Because I painted at that Shoreline Park probably 25 times already, and it's a great place to paint. But some of the things that I've noticed with people painting there is they try to take in too much of the scene.
I do that all the time.
Rather than zero in on a small
Yeah.
portion of it, and they make the painting too difficult that way. So that's one of the things about plein air painting, is that when you take a photograph, you can edit the photograph to what you want, but you can't have the luxury of editing when you paint plein air. You just see the whole scene, and your eyes have to focus in on what you really want to paint and sketch it that way. And so a lot of people have that difficulty doing it that way.
How do you know how many to bring and what colors to bring? I mean, what would a
Well,
decent amount be?
I think painting the ocean and the cliffs, you need a few
Blues
cool
and green.
blues and a few grays and beiges and oranges, because the cliffs are all beiges and oranges.
I always take this guy with me.
That's all you need. You need 30 colors. I would get the
It's the seaside set. Someone else did the thinking for me. That works.
this is a wonderful set too, right here. I take that when I plein air paint. 60 colors.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. That's the
Great
one with little Michael Jackson on the cover.
Great American. This is a really good little set. This has got almost everything you need. So you could to plein air, all you need is a nice chair, a stiff board, and paper, and you can sit there with your pastels and paint. You don't really need a fancy plein air rig, you know, with a easel and the whole shebang. To begin with, all you need is a chair. You can put that board on your lap and draw with some pastels.
Yeah, I use a big cardboard lid to keep the pastel paper from shifting around and flapping.
Yeah, well, you need to tape it down, you know, with some
Yeah,
tape.
yeah. But inside a lid, sometimes it won't move, but you've got to be ready for the wind, as you say.
Right.
The wind, it's the sun, the bugs, the bees, the snakes.
Margie, what is your email, or how do we contact you?
Paintergal@gmail.com.
Margie, write it in the chat.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. I shall do that.
How long have you had that Painter Gal name?
I'm the original painter gal. That's how old I am. Because I've had a lot of people that wanted to actually buy it from me.
Really?
Weird.
Painter
Yeah.
Gal? Wow.
Nice.
Okay.
So, Mike, you're going to be Painter Lad.
I'll be there wandering around, giving hints.
Very good.
The Shoreline Park is a wonderful place to paint. I mean, you can really get turned on there.
Yeah, and we've got all the effects of the water, the rain.
Oh, it's
So if you turn around and look inland, you've got all this beautiful green.
Yeah.
Which
But
is
that point, the Shoreline Park point, is just a wonderful point. Depending on the tide, the waves, and the reflection, and the sun angle, you can paint there all day and not paint the same scene. I mean, the cliff will look totally different every hour on the hour.
That's right.
Hey, Marty, do you want to show your paintings now?
Oh, my paintings?
Marty.
Oh, Marty.
You
Okay.
were going to do that earlier?
I put them away. They're really dark. My plein air paintings that I had. Yeah.
But let's see them.
Yeah.
What's dark? Maybe it will
Or
look.
show some of the ones you did in the Sierras. They were pretty nice.
Yeah, they were beautiful.
I don't know where those are. I already put people's
8
notes
o'clock.
in. Okay. They're not good. I'll just say that. The plein air is very hard for me. I'm much better in the studio. This is one I did at Rancho Camulos, and it's just super dark. Wait. There we go.
You have to turn your background off.
Okay, how do I do that? Oops, wait. How do I turn that off? Blur. Here we go.
But you might want to unblur.
I'm sorry, I'm not technical. I don't know how to.
That doesn't look that dark.
Oh, it doesn't look that dark at all.
No.
I think it's in person. It's pretty dark.
No.
Well, here it's not dark.
It's pretty nice to me.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
That's
thank
good.
you.
Yeah.
In person, it's dark. I don't know.
What sort of light are you in?
I'm under a fluorescent.
Fluorescent. And is it an old fluorescent or a new fluorescent?
It's a few years old.
Yeah. So is it daylight balanced or is it old fashioned?
I don't know.
Okay. Well,
it's part of this big cabinet I have.
okay. Well, it might be a greenish fluorescent.
Here's another one.
Yeah, that's okay.
That's nice.
But it's not.
That's not
Yeah,
dark at all.
No, that one's not as dark, but
No, so Marty, it might be just the lighting in the room that you're
I was
looking
under
at.
a tree for this one. The other one I was out in the sun.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Okay.
What does it look like if you take it outside, like under a awning or something outside, not in direct sunlight, and see how it looks there. I have a spot back by the air conditioner I set things on outside so I can see what it looks more like, because inside it never looks like it should.
Yeah,
Right.
maybe it's where I'm sitting. I'll try that. But
Sure.
I don't know. I feel like I've had that happen before, and I don't know, just seemed too dark.
Yeah.
don't
So
look-
there's a whole thing about the color temperature and the lumens, and I'm not going to explain it, but it's an important
light when I painted it. So
it's an important part of how you view the work.
yeah.
And so, you probably, if you go into your local Home Depot or Lowe's, they'll say, hey, choose the lighting for your kitchen, for your blah, 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 for your bedroom and all that. And therefore, they talk in terms of lumens or degrees Kelvin. And
Yeah, I'm sitting at like a little computer desk. The light is built in. I can't change it, but I'll take it outside and other places and look
Okay.
at it. And maybe it'll look better.
And as a result of that, if you get that right, then maybe when you take a photograph of your work, if you're doing it yourself, it should also improve your photographed image of it.
Well, I'm wondering if on your desk, the overhead light, I know you can get the screw-in daylight lights and stuff, or different ones.
That's
and
right.
stuff, and those you can get those and try those. They cost a little more, but you can get them for like they're like light bulbs, except they're daylight. They're called daylight. And
Yeah,
so they might help.
I'm not painting under this. This is
Oh, okay.
computer desk. I have a Trond at my
Oh,
I have
okay.
lights, but this is just it was built into this little cabinet I have.
Yeah.
You're saying, Marty, that your plein air paintings are too dark, or you're the ones you paint in your studio are dark?
No, the ones I painted in plein air.
Plein air.
But
Okay.
one of these, the other not so much, but the other one I was standing under a tree. This one I was standing out in the sun, but I had an umbrella covering my palette and where I was painting.
Mhm.
So the light was coming up from the ground into my eyes, and I was like, I don't even know what colors.
Yeah,
are here.
sure.
I couldn't see my colors very well.
That's like painting in sunlight,
Yeah.
which is what you want to avoid that.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. That's a good point, though.
Margie, you better wrap this up.
Okay, any final thoughts from the group?
Give
Keep 'em
up.
short.
Well, good conversations. I enjoyed listening to them.
Good.
Good.
It was very
Yeah.
helpful.
Thanks.
It would be nice if any of you need some extra information, just to email me and I'll make sure you get it. The other thing that I wanted to say is I think you're really going to enjoy our upcoming painters. They're really a great group, and I will have Loopy, I will send her all the information. They'll be posted. The theme Thursdays are under the events section, I believe.
Great.
So that's the story.
Yeah. Margie, can I add that I see that you found that painting in 1824, right? 15 years before photography was invented. And it may be of some interest to people, is that this is what painters were striving for, photo reality, before it was ever invented. And I think that's a fantastic example for people to see it.
Well, why don't we,
I mean, if you could just send it to everyone.
And then there's photorealism, which is another
Mhm.
kind of painting that was done in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying is that
Okay, I'm just saying that there's
Yeah.
more evolution in this whole concept.
yeah, but look at what Margie dug up about this Scottish ruined chapel by moonlight. It's absolutely, and I used to go to Liverpool Museum, the art museum. My dad would take us around these places in Liverpool when we were kids. And this painting that Margie's dug up was right in front of you as you went up the main staircase.
Wow.
And I thought this was fantastic. That's what painting I thought was about.
Well, also, we can share this information during our coffee time at the meeting, which would be a good place too.
Mhm.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay? Okay,
Gracias.
everybody, take care.
It's gonna be nice to see everybody on March 11th, you know?
Yeah.
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 Okay, so
I hope we
Bye,
have a
y'all.
turnout.
bye.
Don't forget to visit our library and pick out some books and DVDs when you're there.
Will
All
do.
right.
Take care.
All right, bye, guys.